Under Canadian law, they were not considered persons. They had no vote, and hockey in the rugged frontier province of BC was exclusively a man's game. At the Olympics in 1896, no women competed in any sport. In 1897, however, there were reports of a women's hockey team practicing at the West Kootenay town of Sandon. Then, women were invited to play at the 1900 Rossland Winter Carnival as a novelty act. 50 cents was the fee to join the Rossland Ladies Hockey Club. Quite suddenly, the town had enough female hockeyists for 2 teams. Here was a chance for the so-called gentler sex to break away from some of the constraints of Victorian society. No corsets required on the ice. Still, modesty dictated that they not show too much leg. A select squad was assembled in Rossland to face off against the rivals from Nelson. A uniform was hastily designed, full-length black dresses trimmed in gold with matching scarves. In the first women's game for the championship of BC, the Rossland ladies prevailed 4-0. A local reporter remarked dismissively that one Nelson player would not have recognized the hockey stick if she had met it casually. But hockey was no joke to the Rossland women. Snickers from the sidelines would not discourage them. The next year they hit the ice hard, practicing 6 days a week, quietly challenging traditional gender roles and carving out new identities as athletes. In the early years, with no equally serious teams to challenge them, the Rossland ladies tested each other and held nothing back. A spirited inter-squad game decided the 1905 Rossland Carnival title. The local newspaper made much of the girls' pretty, fetching, and charming appearance. One player proved eye-catching for a different reason. Miss Honey, the best and strongest player, bagged the game's first 2 goals, leading the red team to a 4-0 win over blue. She was quite aggressive too, it was reported with some surprise. In 1906, the Nelson ladies returned to contest the BC Championship. Hazel Blackman and Reba DeMuth provided the goals, and Eva Blackman the shutout, in Rossland's 2-0 triumph. The game report conveyed growing respect. It must have been a revelation to the visitors to observe how well these young ladies played hockey, and the game was rapid from the start to the close. It was a fine exhibition of hockey. In 1911, the team accepted its most formidable challenge yet. Lester Patrick already had multiple Stanley Cups to his credit when he assumed control of the Nelson Ladies Hockey Club as coach and manager. His sister Dora brought some of the legendary Patrick athleticism to the ice as Nelson's captain. Even with top-flight training and tactics, Nelson could not match the starry Rosslandians, falling in back-to-back games, both by shutout. On the ice, one Rossland lady outshone all. Rushing defensewoman Madge Keating closed out the scoring in the first match on a clever dash. After the 3-0 Rossland win, the buzz was the brilliant play of Miss Madge Keating, who the Daily News says handled stick and puck as if she had been playing hockey with senior men's clubs for 10 years. Deeming their women the best on the planet, the organizers of the 1911 Rossland Carnival offered up the Ladies' Championship of the World. It was no surprise when Rossland overpowered Grand Forks to claim that lofty though not undisputed title, 3-1. Now the newspaper report focused not on the players' physical appearance, but solely on their physical ability. Some excellent combination gave Tessie McDonald a fine opportunity, and she scored with a lively shot. McDonald's picture goal proved the winner, and Madge Keating added the insurance. Securing the puck near her own goal, she beat every opponent by speed and cleverness, and registered the 3rd goal amidst excited applause. The result was the same in 1913, in a most satisfying contest in which the women showed much hockey ability. Rossland took the BC title 2-1 over Nelson. This time, however, the winning goal was described in rather patronizing fashion. Ethel Stevens made a goal for Rossland out of what looked like a suffragette meeting in front of Nelson Citadel. Nonetheless, the victorious Rossland ladies took home gold lockets as their prize. They were the Golden City's Golden Girls. A new hero, or heroine, emerged for Rossland in 1915. Against Nelson, center Alice Hender erased a 2-0 deficit with a natural hat-trick, sending the large gallery into a fine howl. Then, in the overtime, brave deeds were done that will live in history. After much combination work around the Nelson goal, Miss Ethel Stevens discovered the gateway, and a minute later Miss Hender slid another through into the net. Rossland successfully defended their title yet again in 1916. Alice Hender, a wicked shooter, wired both Rossland goals in a 2-0 whitewash of Nelson. The paper was unreserved in its praise. It was a game full of thrills. The sports writer marveled at the competitive spirit of the girls who were impetuous and in a high pitch of indignation for want of victory. Accolades went to Rossland's goalkeeper of 11 years, the invincible Miss Eva Blackman, who was there like a balustrade. They might as well have shot at an imperceptible crack in the fence. 17-year-old rookie Grace Lougheed was only 1 when the Rossland ladies won their first title in 1900. Grace belonged to a generation of girls who had, for the first time in history, grown up with female hockey champions to inspire them. The influenza outbreak in 1918 would spell the end of the Rossland Carnival for decades. In it would be the end of an era for the ladies hockey team. But when they hung up their skates at last, they did so in a changed society. A year earlier, women had won the right to vote in BC. By changing perceptions, Rossland's cutting-edge women of action had, in their way, made great strides, and furthered the movement. In May of 1918, most Canadian women finally scored the franchise in federal elections. Over the years, the lineups changed, the uniforms changed, but not the culture of success. Born out of their unprecedented dedication and passion for the game, dominating women's hockey in BC for the better part of 2 decades, the Rossland ladies were one of the game's earliest and most enduring dynasties. They were a source of great civic pride, establishing a tradition of female athletic supremacy, later carried on by Rossland's Nancy Green and Karen Lee Gardner. But as witnesses to the powerful onslaught of the Rossland girls passed away, the team's place in history faded. Hockey historian Wayne Norton argues that the club deserves to be compared to the powerful teams from Calgary of the 1920s, and even to Ontario's Preston Rivulets of the 1930s. The Okanagan Hockey School is proud to honor the Rossland ladies hockey team as true pioneers, not only of the great Canadian game, but also of equal opportunity in our country. We will preserve the memory of BC's free-thinking, freewheeling First Ladies of Hockey.